What's happening, people? It's your girl Mina. Welcome back to my channel. You guys already know what it is. First and foremost, big up to everyone in the chat. If you've just come through, be sure to hit the like button. I've just got, if you lot see me just looking to my left or my right, it just means I'm just keeping an eye on the Carabao Cup because there's last like 5 minutes left of extra time in that. But of course, I had this stream lined up, so inevitably I was going to go live. Now, I didn't go live yesterday after the game, just because I feel like there was a bit to reflect on. I think there was a bit to reflect on. Reading the manager's comments after the game also made me think, okay, well, I'm glad I didn't go live after that. I want to hear everyone's thoughts about the game. I want to know everyone's thoughts about the result. I want to know everyone's thoughts about what the hell do we do from here on out? What is the next steps for Manchester United? What is the next steps for Manchester United? Is Erik ten Hag going to survive this INEOS reign? Is he going to survive this regime? Is he going to survive Umar Barada, Dan Ashworth, whoever comes in and decides to implement a certain style of football? Is he going to survive that? Because you don't know where I stand. And we're going to talk about the Fulham game. We're going to talk about some individual performances, I would say. I was criticized in the past couple weeks ago for my stance on the manager. My stance has not changed. I wanted the manager. I want the manager to turn it around. But every game that goes by, it looks like it's very, very unlikely. And then today, obviously, with the Carabao Cup final, I realized that it's been 1 year. It's been 1 year since United won the Carabao Cup. And 12 months has changed. A lot has changed in 12 months. A lot has changed for the worse. I would say for the worse, for sure. So I want to hear what everyone thinks what went wrong, because that's the title of this. Is the title of this is what has gone wrong in those 12 months. But let's start with the Fulham game. Let's start with yesterday's result. Coming off the back of no losses so far in the season, coming off the back of no of this year, sorry, this calendar year, no losses yet. I felt a lot more confident going into the game. I felt a lot more confident going into the Fulham game. However, when the Rasmus Højlund thing, you lot are saying Liverpool scored, my stream is maybe like 10 seconds behind. I haven't seen a goal yet. Oh, they got a corner. This is probably what they're going to score from. This game, by the way, can I just say, yeah? I would just say quickly just about the Chelsea and Liverpool game. What a snooze fest. Honestly, I was watching that thinking, oh my God, this is the worst. This is a horrible football that I've seen. And that says a lot because I watched United yesterday. But also, Liverpool are not even playing their main team. This is like a C team Liverpool that they're playing. Van Dijk, Konate, Robertson, Endo, Luis Diaz. Everyone else is a bunch of academy kids. It's a bunch of academy kids. They're taking the corner now, so I guess that's where they're going to score. I don't want to think about this. I don't want to dwell too much on the Chelsea. Can you fix that one book on your shelf? It's getting on my nerves. That's how it's meant to be. That's how it's meant to be. I'm not going to lie. That's how it's meant to be, so I'm not going to fix it. But let's talk about yesterday's game. Let me turn this game off. Sorry, guys. It's a bit distracting having that game on in the corner of my eye. Let me take that off. Let's talk about today's game, because I feel like once Rasmus Højlund was expected to be out injured, I feel like that changed a lot. And I really feel like the manager I don't want to say he overthought the changes, but he did too much. I think Amari Forson played. No disrespect to Amari Forson. He's a young academy kid. I want him to do well. But I would have preferred, I'm going to say this, and you lot might laugh at me, I would have preferred to have McTominay up top, because that means nothing else would have changed. The midfield wouldn't have changed. The three behind the striker wouldn't have changed. But I'm seeing Bruno Fernandes at halftime or later into the second half being shifted out to the right. Excuse me, I'm seeing Rashford up top, Garnacho on the left, Eriksen, McTominay in the 10. Like, what the hell? That has to be a joke. At that point, that has to be a joke. I'm not gonna lie. Well, that has to be a joke. I saw those changes in the game, and we could talk about the performance. We could sit here and dwell on, what went wrong and what went right, and well, nothing went right, if we're being honest. But we can sit here and dwell on that. But for me, I think, and I've said this time and time again, Erik ten Hag, for me, is just waiting for the inevitable to happen. That's what I feel. Because you can't come out after yesterday's game after that result, after that performance, and say that we need to look at the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture? The bigger picture is that United, despite having won how many games? What was that? 4 games on the bounce in the league? We won 4 games on the bounce in the league. There was no good performances coming into the Fulham game. There was no good standout performance where we can say United dominated the game. United had control of the game. Every game, we were going toe-to-toe with the opponent. And these are, I don't want to say mid-table, but these are mid-table teams that we're going toe-to-toe with. Aston Villa. Maybe West Ham is the one that that's the one game that I think we had a clean sheet this month. But coming into the Fulham game, there is no way that United or Ten Hag could say that we have to look at the bigger picture of this result, because the bigger picture is we're shit. That is the bigger picture. The bigger picture is the manager is, I think, inevitably waiting for the inevitable to happen. And I was criticized time and time again. People have sat here time and time again when we talk about football, saying that when I say things like United are playing unsustainable football, oh, but we're getting the results. There's only so much that you can ride that luck. There's only so much you can ride that luck of getting results until you get humbled. Yesterday was probably one of the worst performances I've seen at home. And that's saying a lot when we've lost to Bournemouth. Like, we've lost to so many teams at home. We've lost 10 games in the league. I had one of my friends text me yesterday just saying Erik Ten Hag. And I was like, what? And then they were like, Erik Ten Hag. And that's when I realized we've lost 10 games in the league. It's unsustainable. And I always say this, the final nail in the coffin, yeah, for me, always after every loss, I always say if I watch his post-match or read his post-match comments, that for me is going to be the final nail in the coffin. Every time United have lost, it is exactly that. The manager will come out and say things that are completely unrelated or realistic enough to the performance that we've just watched. And yesterday was just another example of it. Onana, I'm going to start with Andre Onana because I think he actually kept the scoreline a lot more humble, because it could have been like, if Fulham could, again, we say this every game, guys. We say this every game, but if the opponent can finish their chances, it would be a completely different result. It would be a completely different result. But we are just lucky enough sometimes to come up against teams that cannot finish their chances. It's as simple as that. Iwobi had a heap of chances, and then when it finally matters, he slots it away. Onana just caught, again, deer in headlights. How many times do I sit here, guys, after a game, and I say that United have conceded a goal, and Onana is like a deer in headlights where he's startled. He's just there staring into a flipping oblivion. Onana is not it. Like, and I respect him for the saves that he made yesterday, but there is too many flaws in his style of play. The way he plays, it's either he dives too early, he dives too late. There was a chance he saved and he parried it away, but there was a Fulham player in front of him, and he just about got enough on it the second time round to get the ball out. Basically, he got something on it the second time to get the ball away. But we've seen it time and time again. When he parries a low shot and he dives low, the guy gets no power behind that save. So a lot of other times it could fall to an opponent right in front of him. It could happen easily. And I don't want to sit here and talk about the shots conceded. I don't want to sit here talking about shots conceded. Because I feel like every team that come up against United this season, they just shoot on sight. They'll shoot from 30 yards, 40 yards, 20 yards, 10. They don't care. They know that Ten Hag has Onana in goal, so they will just shoot from everywhere. But the fact that we've conceded the second most shots in the league, on target, off target, don't matter. That means we are inviting the opponent. Where is this press that I'm always hearing about? Don't get me started either. Do not get me started either on the fitness levels of this team. And the reason why I mention the fitness stuff in particular, is because I have a theory, guys. I have a theory, and I think this also explains the rise of muscle injuries in the starting in the team. Erik Ten Hag referenced it when he was talking about Rasmus Højlund's injury. He said high intensity training. Yeah, you got this press that United are playing with, and they're expected to cover heaps of grass consistently. Yeah, they're expected to do that consistently. And I feel like United, as a result, also overcommit, because there was a build-up yesterday that United were in, and we were caught on the counter as a result of it. And it seems like United have moved from playing this 3-1-6 they've moved from playing this 3-1-6 in build-up to now playing 2-1-7. What the hell? What the hell? We were caught on, I think, 2 different counters yesterday because of that. Again, any other team could put it away on a good day. Fulham didn't. But Fulham didn't. Let's quickly go through. I want to talk about Erik. Listen, I have to talk about Erik ten Hag's post-match comments. Like I have to talk about it. I have to talk about it because there's no way I feel like I can't look past it. And if you guys watch this, if you lot watch my streams, especially like if some of you lot have been here for the last couple months or since I've started it, you know I always say to you guys, what Erik ten Hag says after a press conference or after a loss, I don't think he actually believes it. Because there's no way you can come out of that Fulham game yesterday and say these stuff that you have said. There's no way, unless you're trying to save face, unless he's learned from the past of maybe criticizing a player in public. But there is no way that you can sit there, watch these performances from the likes of Bruno Fernandes, from the likes of Andre Onana. Harry Maguire yesterday was not at his best that we've seen this season. You can't watch Marcus Rashford. You can't watch these kind of performances and genuinely think that the biggest issue right now that United have is that it's just a process. A process is non-existent without progress. And let's be real. And I said this all month. I said that United have been playing unsustainable football and it's going to come back and bite us in the arse. Excuse my language. But I said it was going to come back and bite us in the arse because the biggest issue that United have, there's so many problems. We could talk about injuries. Like, I think the injury thing is a big problem. But I also think that maybe we are not looking in the right direction when it comes. Why are players getting so many non-contact injuries? Why is it players are coming to United and being fit and then just out for long periods of time? Like, why is that? That is an issue. The injury thing is an issue, yeah. But outside of that, the tactics, in-game management, even the pre-game management. I'm sorry, yeah. I'm very, very, very sorry. And like I said, all respect to Amari Forson, because I think he's a different type of forward in comparison to what United need. And we can sit here talk about, the lack of investment in the January transfer window. But let's be real, guys. Amari Forson should not have played yesterday's game. He should not have. He's had increments of appearances throughout the last couple of weeks. He's played 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, whatever. But Erik ten Hag himself is going against what he says. He himself says he's not going to just throw an academy kid into the deep end immediately. Yeah? But you did that with Amari Forson basically yesterday, in my opinion. In my opinion, he threw Amari Forson in because for me, I think like I said, everyone I'm sure shares similar sentiment. I don't think it was the game for Amari Forson. Then again, it's like I get the predicament that Erik ten Hag is in because then it's like, oh, I play Rashford up top, but when Rashford plays up top, you're getting 10%. You're getting 10%. But let's quickly go through his comments post-game yesterday. This is exactly what he said, guys. He said, after one defeat, you have to see the bigger picture, and the bigger picture looks good. That's what he said after the game when asked if things were going in the right direction under his management. He then went on to say, we have to get the injuries back, then we'll be more in balance and also strengthen the squad in the transfer windows. These are coming up. There are coming up many good players and high potential players, so definitely we are going in the right direction. So when they are available, we have a very good team. Brother, I don't know what the hell you're talking about there. Don't know what the hell you're talking about. He then went on to talk about obviously the losses and whether he believes that United can finish in top 4. He said, after these 2 months, and I cannot go with that approach of losing hope for Champions League qualification. We have lately been really good. Now we have some setbacks. Today we could win and should win. The team show great character. I'm going to come back to that last line because I've heard it so many times this season. We had slow starts in both halves. Losing Casemiro was an important loss. We lose some stability and concede a goal that is very avoidable and then fought back by showing great character. Then we go for a win, but it slips away. I don't know where we went for the win, but he went on to talk about, all the injuries and how it's, an issue having people missing to injury and all of that stuff. And I think that's nonsense. I think it's nonsense. And I'm not saying the injury thing is nonsense. I'm saying what he said after the game is nonsense. How can you say today we could win and we should win? He says that after every single game. Erik Ten Hag says that after every single game United lose, he says we should win. We can lose to Bournemouth, Newcastle, whoever it is, whoever it is, we could lose. And he will be like, we should win. We should have won, and we could have won, but we didn't. There's no point saying we should have won because we didn't. So what's the point on saying that? Like, it's a sentiment that I just genuinely do not understand. And looking back, I watched back, guys, across the last season. I watched back, up to the Carabao Cup and after that. And I look at where United were 12 months ago and where we find ourselves 12 months later. And it's a very unfortunate position. I think United are very in an unfortunate position. I think Erik Ten Hag's I feel like he shoots himself in the foot a lot. And the reason why I'm saying I feel like he shoots himself in the foot a lot, it just feels like a lot of the time he's saying the stuff that he thinks is the right stuff to say. I think Ten Hag, I think his philosophy, the idea of the style of football he wants to play, I think is good. But there's one thing of having an idea and trying to implement it. And I think if you need a certain number or a certain crop of players to implement that style of football, then unfortunately, you're not always going to win, because you're not always going to have those players available to you. You might not have that, and you have to adapt. You have to change. You have to adapt, because football is also all about adapting. You adapt in game, you adapt mid game, you adapt to the opponent's tactics and all of that stuff. You adapt to all of that. But I feel like when Erik Ten Hag adapts to it, it's, oh, I'm adapting to it, but I'm not going to do what I want to do. I'm not going to play the way I want to play. The way that I'm going to adapt to injuries, the way I'm going to adapt to the opponent's tactics is by reset, just straight reset. I'm not going to implement my style of football because the players are not capable of doing it, or the players are not able to do it, or they cannot take the instructions to do it. And Ten Hag has never said that verbatim, but I feel like he's alluded to it a lot of times. And I know you guys probably know what I'm talking about. He's alluded to it a lot of times where he's basically suggested that he cannot play the way that he wants to play unless he's got his crop of players. And the other players that are available to him when these players are out injured are not able to implement that style of football or implement the way that he wants to play. Forget even style of football. United cannot keep possession. They cannot retain possession. They cannot press. They cannot press well. When they do press, they press in high energy for like a minute and then they're tired for the rest of the 89 minutes. They create chances, but I feel like a lot of the time, I'll be real, I feel like when United do create chances, and they get opportunities, I don't think it's from passages of play. I just feel like it's just through passing and just trying to create the opportunity, if you guys know what I mean. I don't think it's from a clear-cut way of football, i.e., because one thing that Erik Ten Hag really emphasizes a lot is sucking the team in with the press and then beating the press and hitting them on the counter. That's what he says all the time. But United don't score from that. United do not score from that. I'm going to go through the comments quickly and then we're going to come to Bruno Fernandes, because you lot know I've always got stuff to say about Bruno Fernandes. And I feel like he's been, is it a wild shout? Because I'm going to come back to this, but is it a wild shout for me to say that Bruno Fernandes is one of our worst players this season? He's not been good. And the reason why I say that is because I hold Bruno to a much higher standard than maybe I hold other players, because you are a captain. So I will always hold Bruno Fernandes to a much higher standard. The standard I hold Marcus Rashford to, it might be slightly below Bruno Fernandes, but when you wear the captain armband, I feel like you are put on a higher pedestal. Like yesterday, Antonio Valencia I feel like Antonio Valencia was indirecting Bruno Fernandes with his tweet. I'm not joking. I felt like he was indirecting I felt like he was indirecting Bruno Fernandes, and he made a very valid point. He basically said, "You fight till the badge, till the end, till the end of the game." And players this season are not doing that, and nor is our captain. I'm gonna come back to that because I feel like you guys have a lot to say as well. Obviously, Liverpool, I guess, have won the Carabao Cup. Crazy to me that Liverpool won with their B team. And Chelsea had how much? Nearly 500 million in signings on the pitch. It's ridiculous. Let me quickly go through some of the comments. If you've just come through, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Big up to Julian in the chat. Says, Mina, what he did to Facundo, even if he's not amazing talent, bringing him in that game against Bayern after giving no minutes, then dropped him as he was not happy. Crazy man management. We've seen it quite a few times. Like, let's be real. We've seen that we've seen this quite a few times. With, and this is why I don't get it. It's because I feel like Ten Hag contradicts himself quite often. And guys, this is not a witch hunt against Ten Hag. I'm just sitting here just pointing out things I've noticed, and I feel like he contradicts himself a lot, because something similar with Kobbie Mainoo. He's, after playing against Everton, his debut this season, or his first appearance this season, he then went on to rest him a bit over the course of games. And when he was asked about it, he said, "Oh, because he's returned from injury, I want to ease him back in. You know, I don't want him having 90 minutes under his belt every game." All right, cool. Luke Shaw comes back from injury, an injury problem, a reoccurring injury problem that he's been having for a long time. You play him 6 games on the bounce. 6 games, 90 minutes non-stop. You've played him. What happens? Luke Shaw's now out injured. I feel like I think it's quite contradictory sometimes, some of the things the manager says. Similar to like this point that Julian pointed out about Facundo. I feel like with the Amari Forson thing, I think Amari Forson is, I think he's an okay player, but I still think he's young. And I think when we're in a position, like I said, this is a dog, every game is a dog fight. Yeah, it's a dogfight. You don't just throw an academy player up top, even though United are running short in that position. You don't just throw an academy player, which then, when you bring them off at halftime, throws off the entire course of the formation. Why? Because you're bringing on a midfield of Eriksen at halftime. You're putting Scott McTominay in the 10. You're putting Bruno Fernandes out right on the right-hand side. All because you played Amari Forson from the beginning, and now you've had to change it. And Casemiro obviously got hurt. So you have to change it up. Had you, and again, this is just me with hypotheticals, but if we had played with without Amari Forson, and say we played a Rashford up top, Bruno could have still played in the 10. You could have put Ahmad out on the right. You could have put Anthony out on the right. And this is not me saying that Anthony deserves to play, but I'm saying you had those options to do that, which then there's a domino effect. Bringing off Amari Forson at halftime, there was a ripple effect. You put McTominay in the 10. You brought on Eriksen. We already struggled this season in the midfield. We struggle with physicality. We've struggled with intensity. We struggle with that second goal that they scored, yeah? I say any other player with the slightest bit of, I don't want to say IQ, but just know when to do the right stuff, they bring down a Adama Traore. You're Christian Eriksen, you know he's going to skip past you. You know he's going to skip past you. You bring him down. Bring him down. Like that. What was it that Italian player did to Saka in the Euros? Like, come on. Like, it's just the simple thing. I think, honestly, that's the simple thing to do. But obviously, I'm speaking from my couch. You know, I'm not a footballer. But if I want to talk, I can't talk about the manager. Excuse me, guys. I cannot speak about Erik ten Hag and his decision making or in-game thing without talking about the players, because the players are pathetic. They are the players are as equally, I think, are probably a bigger problem than the manager, which is why I understand. Sometimes I'm going to play devil's advocate here a little bit. I'm going to say to you, I understand why Erik ten Hag sometimes maybe says the stuff that he says, because he probably looks at these players and think these men are useless. He probably looks at them and thinks these guys are useless. I cannot do anything, because I look at these players and I think there is no way that you guys are going to survive this INEOS reign. Some of these players have to go. And one player that I'm going to talk about is Bruno Fernandes. Zayn Yassi is back with a super chat saying a masterpiece against Newcastle. League is ours. Come back in May. Come back to this channel in May, and I will see if you are still sending super chats then. Yeah, big up to all of you guys in the chat. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, if you've just come through. Of course, I want to hear everybody's thoughts about yesterday's game, and in particular, what do you think has gone wrong in the past 12 months since Man United picked up the Carabao Cup to where we find ourselves today? Where do you think things have begun to go wrong? But let's talk about Bruno Fernandes. Yesterday, he did something which doesn't surprise me anymore. It actually, I'm at a point now where I don't get annoyed with things that Bruno does. I don't get frustrated, but I'm not going to just be like, oh, that's just how Bruno is. I'm not going to say that. And one thing he did, I don't know if you guys realize, I think it was Garnacho won a duel, played it to Bruno. Wallahi, yeah, he played an outside of the boot erratic pass to the right hand side. He tried to play an outside of the boot erratic pass over the top to the right hand side. It just went in the air somewhere. I don't even know where the ball landed in the end. And I just watched that and I thought, oh my God. I thought this can't be serious. I said, this guy cannot still be doing this sort of stuff. And he's okay with it. And then there was so many things he did yesterday that I thought this guy is unserious. He's the most unserious candidate that I've ever seen. He did something. He went down with an injury. He went down with a knock. He got clipped something, edge of the box. Immense pain. Wallahi. In my language, we say fil in Hindi, which means basically Bollywood style, basically. Yeah. He was in immense pain rolling around in the floor. Didn't get the reaction. United are on a break, by the way. We are literally attacking the opponent in the box. He sees that United have the ball again on the right-hand side. He gets back up quickly and he's shouting at his player to pass it to him. I can't remember who it was. Someone didn't pass it to him and he got angry. And I'm like, bro, you just spent the last 20 seconds rolling around on the floor, yeah, whilst United were on a break. Clearly, you were not that hurt. I don't know. Again, this might be me just, maybe I'm downplaying how hurt he was, but to me, he did not look that hurt. And this is why I say the captain armband weighs heavy on him. I think the captain armband weighs heavy on him. I don't think, and I saw it, bro. I saw a tweet that someone pulled up from 2019, yeah, that was about when United were scouting for him. And one of the things reportedly United were concerned about was his erratic passing and his low pass completion. I think it was around 74% pass completion he had at Sporting. Then I saw a stat that said he hasn't even surpassed that yet at Manchester United. All of that stuff, aside from all of that stuff, yeah, how can you be a captain and you can't lead by example? I don't care if you are today, yeah, guys. I wouldn't feel some type of way if the best player in United was not the captain. I wouldn't feel some type of way because sometimes you don't have to be the best to be a captain. It's just standards. It's just the way that you play. You lead by example. Antonio Valencia, don't get me wrong, he was a baller. Yeah, Antonio Valencia, I think a lot of people forget. But when he got shifted to right back, yeah, I used to think this guy is the worst right back ever. But what was he? He had that dog in him. He had that fight in him, and he led by example. He left everything on the pitch. I think you look at a lot of captains that United have had. Yeah, some of them phenomenal in terms of their playing ability. Yeah, in terms of their playing ability, they were all phenomenal players. But there's some in the past that across other clubs as well, they haven't had the best. You don't have to be the best in the team to be a captain, but you have to lead by example. And I feel like Bruno does not do that. I feel like the captain armband weighs heavy on him. I'll be real, it weighs heavy on him. And I don't think no one holds him accountable. No one. Last season, I don't know if you'll remember, there was a time when Jadon Sancho told him to stop moaning, and everybody was going crazy about it. People were like, how dare Sancho talk to the captain like that, and blah 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 blah. I don't think Bruno is rated like that by the players in the dressing room. This is again speculation. This is an assumption that I'm just making. But I don't think Bruno Fernandes is rated like that. And I think a lot of people look at him, and this is why opponents, for example, always say that they like everyone I know that supports Chelsea, Arsenal, whatever. Yeah, they're always like, I can't stand Bruno. I can't stand Bruno. He moans too much. He gets under people's skin. Yeah, because he's irritating as hell. But he also gets under our skin because of the bullshit he does on the pitch. He also gets under our skin because of the bullshit that he does on the pitch. This erraticness in his passing, yeah, I genuinely think sometimes I wonder how much brain cells he's got. Like, I think maybe he banged his head as a kid or something, and how many brain cells he has. Because sometimes the decision making he makes is so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And I wouldn't mind it. And this is my issue. And I'm sure a lot of people have this issue as well. But I wouldn't mind it if it was once in a while. Maybe once every other game. Maybe even once a game. I wouldn't mind you making the wrong decision once every 90 minutes. But when it's multiple times across a period of 90 minutes, it gets frustrating. It gets irritating. It gets annoying. And I look at it and I think sometimes maybe Ten Hag cannot play the way he wants to play because of Bruno. Maybe it's Bruno that's the problem. Has anybody ever wondered that maybe it's Bruno Fernandes that is the issue of maybe it's Bruno Fernandes that's the issue in the way that because Erik Ten Hag came into United and said he wants to play possession style football or possession based football. That's what he said. He said he wanted to play possession-based football. We cannot play possession-based football with Bruno Fernandes in the team. And I'm going to reiterate that one more time. Manchester United will never play possession-style football or possession-based football with Bruno Fernandes in the team. I just think it's unrealistic. It's I want to say it's out of this world. I want to say it will never happen. That might be a blasphemous statement, but it will never happen. Because if you want to play Bruno, if you want to play a certain style of football that requires us to hold on to the ball, you need to have people that make the right decisions, that make smart decisions. That's what I think. You cannot have someone in the heart of your midfield, in the heart of your attack, who is erratic. And this is just, guys, this is my opinion. If any of you guys disagree, like, let me know. I'm happy to debate it. I'm happy to talk about it. But I think if you want to play a style of football where you're dominating possession, you are having possession, you are, doing stuff with it, you're tidy with it, you're able to recover it after you lose it. You can't have Bruno doing that. You cannot have Bruno in the heart, because the 10, let's be real, in an attack, or especially in build-up, your attacking midfielder or your number 10 is the heart of that. He's the heart of it. He keeps it pumping. Yeah, he's like the blood to the heart. Yeah, he keeps it pumping. He keeps it going. Bruno is too erratic to do that. And let's be real, he's not going to get any better, because I think we talk about things, we praise Kobbie Mainoo, for example, for like composure and discipline. Yeah, I always say this is a sentiment that I share, and this goes back to even when I as a kid used to play football. Yeah, maybe I was not playing at like the top level, but I was playing football and I was being coached. Discipline cannot be taught to someone at the age of 29, 30, 40. Like, you cannot be. Discipline is something you are taught from your academy days all the way up into your. Discipline is taught to you and it's instilled into your mindset. Bruno has no discipline when it comes to having the ball. He tries this, I think, as a flick of a switch goes off in his head and he tries this wonder pass. Yeah. But sometimes that's not, 99% of the time, it's not the right thing to do. 99% of the time, it's not the right thing to do. And the reason why I say that the problem is his discipline and his composure is because that is something I think you are taught from a young age. And that's why I think that's why my point is that United cannot play the style that Ten Hag might want, which is possession-styled football or possession-based football, because the person who is meant to be the most disciplined in the team is not. The person who's meant to be the most disciplined in possession is not. Like, it's as simple as that. I'm not blaming Bruno for having the same personality as Kobbie. I'm not. Discipline is not a personality trait. It's a football characteristic trait. I'm not criticizing him. Him and Kobbie Mainoo are two different personalities. They're two different people. But discipline is a characteristic that footballers should have. Whether you're a defender should have discipline, because they shouldn't be flying into tackles erratically. A holding midfielder should have discipline. Attacking midfielder should have. A goalkeeper should have discipline, because when they're making saves, they should be trying to parry it away as far as possible and not just trying to get a light fingertip to it. My point is that the discipline trait that Kobbie or other people have. And it's not just Kobbie, by the way. It's not just Kobbie, but I'm using Kobbie Mainoo as an example because Kobbie Mainoo has been praised a lot over the last couple of months for his discipline and his composure. Yeah, that trait that he might have, which I think he might have been instilled. It might have been instilled into him from an academy level all the way up until the first team. If players don't have that at the age of 28, 29, 30, they're never going to get it. They're never going to get it. And that's all. I'm not comparing personality style. I hope I kind of addressed my point properly. I hope I addressed my point properly, that when I'm talking about discipline, I ain't talking about it as a personality trait. Because the discipline that I need in my life, as for example, as a content creator, and the discipline a footballer needs on the pitch, that's two different types of discipline. The discipline I need as a content creator is I need to be consistent. I need to work hard. I need to, create videos. I need to plan ideas, all of that kind of stuff. A footballer that has discipline on the pitch, you can't be erratic. You can't make poor decisions. You can't, if your team wants to play possession style football, you can't just be making stupid passes all the time. And that's my point when it comes to Bruno Fernandes. Big up Blue Dabba for the super chat. Says, nah, Mina, don't pretend like you didn't also see we went for the win after the equalizer. Lindelof was playing as a second striker. and Fulham countered it. I'm not going to say that we didn't go for the win, but I'm also going to say that we waited so long. We're like, United always do this. That we go for it once we are equalized. I think what Fulham did wrong, I'll be real, when Fulham sat back after they scored, that invited United in. Other teams might have hit us low. They might have hit us already because we were low on confidence. So they might have hit us again to go for a second goal. But Fulham sat back, which worked in United's favour. And when we were going for that second goal, it's happened a lot where we overcommit. We saw it at Arsenal. We saw it at Arsenal early in the season. We overcommit numbers. That's fine. Get caught on a break. It happens. We saw it at Wolves. Where we overcommit numbers. We got hit on the break. And then we ended up conceding. I have no issue with that. And I'm not challenging the fact that Erik Ten Hag, because Erik Ten Hag always says we should have won or we could have won. But I feel like shoulda, woulda, coulda it's not enough. Shoulda, woulda, coulda is not enough. Once you're saying shoulda, woulda, could have, I feel like you've accepted defeat and you might not even know the reason as to why you're not winning games. And sometimes I sit here all the time. I say I feel bad for Erik Ten Hag because sometimes I'm like, what more can he do? What more can he do than to walk the ball into the back of the net for these players? And I sit here and I see both sides of it. I really do see both sides of it. But yesterday's performance just showed what the issue was. Big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button if you've just come through. Let's get to 100 likes before the end of the stream. And of course, I want to hear what you guys have to say. As always, I'm going to go through some of the comments. Big up to Show says, but the bigger picture is looking good, Mina. I will be real. I don't know what the hell the bigger picture is. Can someone tell me what the bigger picture is? Can someone tell me what the bigger picture is that the manager is referencing? What's the bigger picture after this? Because am I going to be gaslit into being told, oh, United won 4 out of 5 games in February? Okay, that's the bigger picture. Okay, but we kept 1 clean sheet. How many games this season have United won? And this is just it's a question I don't even want to answer because I feel like I know what the answer is. It's probably a low number or a low percentage. How many games have United won by more than 1 goal? You can't tell me that the bigger picture. You cannot tell me that the bigger picture is that United are getting better, because how many games have United won this season by more than 1 goal? I don't know. And was it Newport that we beat? I'm trying to think other games that we've won by more than 1 goal this season. I actually can't think of any. I actually cannot think of any. We've lost 10 games in the Premier League alone. We've lost 10 games in the Premier League alone. Blue is the biggest shot, says we're signing Vinny in the summer and winning the league next season. That is the bigger picture. You know what? It's not the first time I've heard someone saying that United are going to sign Vinicius. Like, it's actually not the first time that I've actually heard it. Like, honestly, I've seen people saying this. I don't know where this sentiment is coming from. But 0 goal difference, and it's almost March, excuse me. That is crazy. That is actually crazy when you put it like that. What do you lot think about? We're talking about City. Forget City, bro. We got FA Cup midweek, so we are. If United look tired in Fulham, against Fulham, after we've had 1 week between games, if United look tired, what are United going to look like against City next week when we're coming off a game from midweek? That's what I want. That's my $1 million question. My $1 million question to everyone is, what is United going to look like next Sunday coming off the back of a midweek game? They are going to look even beyond tired. At that point, I don't even know. What's another term for tired? Because that's basically what United are going to look like. That is what United's going to look like. Because we've been having 1 week breaks between games. We've been having 1 week breaks between games and we still look tired. Now, I have a question for you all. I have a question for everyone. Actually, before I go to my question, this is a valid point. Julian says it's not just results, it's man management, in-game tactics, and so on. It's not working, having conceded 400 shots and 0 goal difference after almost 2 seasons. What would you do if you were Sir Jim Ratcliffe right now? What would you do? Because United are still not far. Like, United, Of course, relying on other teams, United could hypothetically make top 4, and that's hypothetical. Right now, they are what, 8 points off from Villa. Yeah, it's not out of this world to say that United won't make top 4. But what would you do if you're Sir Jim Ratcliffe and you're looking at this and you're looking at the way United are playing? You're looking at the manager's style of football. You are looking at, you're weighing out your options, right? Because a part of me sometimes, I'll be real, guys, a part of me sometimes says, in my opinion, I think Ten Hag deserves a chance of 1 year with sporting direction. He deserves 1 year of structure above him, where he is just solely focused on coaching. But then I look at the game management and I think, is any of this going to actually change? Is the game management going to change once the manager is just focused on managing? And the manager can ask for the type of players he wants. The manager can ask for, make recommendations or suggestions, but it won't always happen. Will that make a difference to anything? It's a question that I asked myself a lot over the last couple of weeks in particular. I look at the players. I think, okay, how much are INEOS realistically? How much is Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the minority ownership going to realistically get rid of in the summer? Because, for example, keeping Harry Maguire is more expensive to United for FFP reasons than to just give Raphael Varane a 1 year contract extension, even on Varane's 300k wages. When it comes to the FFP side, it costs them way more to keep Harry Maguire for another season. So obviously they've got decisions to make. I think Erik, they've got decisions to make about Erik Ten Hag. They've got decisions to make about the players. They've got decisions to make about the summer transfer message. But summer transfer window. Sorry, I said summer transfer message because I just read something that said message here. But my point is that, do you just wait until the end of the season, part ways with the manager, and then the INEOS reign begins? Or do you just chop it up now? They just basically shut the whole operation down now and see the season out with an interim and keep it stepping? Because I see no value in having an interim. I see no value in having an interim right now. It makes no point. And I know some of you guys will say to me, oh, but we have to salvage the season. We have to salvage something of the season. I don't see the point of that, because I think we had Ralph Ragnick come in and he couldn't do shit with the players that he had. He couldn't do anything as an interim manager. Of course, he had a lot more time, but he couldn't do anything. We've got 2.5 months left, I think now. I think we got it's about 3 months, actually. 3 months left of the season. We've got 1 international break in between that, and then we've just got a whole heap of games to come. I'll be real with you guys. I'll be real. And I've said this time and time and time again. I said that if Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Ahmad Barada, all of them come in and they think Erik Ten Hag is not the man that they want to take forward for the project that they have in mind, keep him for the end of the season and then just part ways with him. But between now and the end of the season, have the managers lined up that you want to go after, because you don't want to waste that first summer transfer window. This is an important summer transfer window. Let's be real. This is an important window because it's off the back of the Euros. So I think that a lot of moves will happen either before the Euros or after the Euros. I don't think there's going to be much movement in the summer transfer window between the Euros. A lot of big clubs are looking for managers. So United might just be on that list with Barca, Bayern, Liverpool, United. That's 4 of the, I'd say, biggest 5 clubs in world football. So you don't want to go into the summer transfer window, which I think is the most important one, because it's one under a new reign. It's one under sporting direction. We have a philosophy in place in terms of a CEO. We got the footballing people. They're recruiting for head of recruitment, head of academy, all of that sort of stuff, DOF. So you go into this summer transfer window with the manager that you already want to move forward with, and you just keep it rolling, kind of thing, Keep it rolling. And that's why I see no value in sacking Ten Hag. Because if Manchester United managed to get top 4, good. But do you think, and this is a question to everyone, do you think that if Erik Ten Hag gets top 4 with the season that we've had, that he should be allowed to see out his last season of his contract? Because next year is his last year. There's been no talk of a contract extension or possibility of a contract extension. So do you think that if United get top 4, we see it out? if, and that's a heavy if, because for me, is like, I always say this whenever we talk about it on UV as well. I'm always like, let's take one game at a time, guys. Honestly, I don't want to sit here talking about if we get top four, or top four races on. No, let's just play it one game at a time. And I said this month, February, had to be 15 out of 15 points, because we got a lot of bigger teams coming up in March, April, May. And if we cannot win 15 points this month, then we are going to struggle in the months to come. Come on, man! Don't be making jokes about the only bald head I want to see next season is David Brailsford. When you have players on high salaries and give them player power, you get this. We are the English PSG with no trophies or technical ability. This is crazy. You're saying with the English PSG. PSG got to a Champions League final a couple years back. When was that? During COVID. During COVID, they got to a Champions League final. One game at a time. That's what Erik Ten Hag said. He did say one game at a time. He also said every game is like a cup final. God forbid I ever see United play like they did yesterday in a cup final. God forbid I ever see that. It was near enough to that performance that I saw in the FA Cup as well. Everyone's saying no. No, we won't get top four. No, Hag will be sacked if United need a distraction. You think so? I don't know. Reactionary social media addicts come crawling out of their clothes when we lose. Didn't see half of you when we won the last 4 or 5 games in a row. It's like rats coming out at night to avoid humans. Palmeiras doesn't sound happy. Does not sound happy about that. Standard protocol says we're finishing 9th. That's quite harsh. That's quite harsh to say that we're finishing 9th. I don't know about that. I don't understand why we go for smash and grabs at Old Trafford against dead teams. Why aren't we playing in a way that makes the opponent fearful, unrecognizable, this current Man United side? Unfortunately, I feel like United find themselves now in a predicament where teams come to Old Trafford and when they win, it's not even a big deal anymore. Fulham didn't over-celebrate yesterday. Calvin Bassey scored his first ever goal, his first ever career goal. To get your first ever career goal at Old Trafford in a win, in a game where I think Fulham hadn't won away from home since the beginning of the season. The Fulham fans themselves were singing. What were they singing? They were singing you're so shit that we're winning away. These lot don't win away from home. They don't win away from home. United have created an environment at Old Trafford that anyone comes there and they don't feel threatened. They don't feel triggered. They don't feel scared. They feel like they can get something. Nottingham Forest. Was it Nottingham Forest? Yeah, Morgan Gibbs-White was saying, look at these man. They look like they don't want to be here. They look like they don't want to be here. That is the situation that United find themselves in, I think, over the last 10 years. But I think it's been worse this season. I don't know. Maybe it's me being more, what's the word? It's like recency bias. But I genuinely feel like this season is the worst when it comes to teams coming here to Old Trafford and feeling comfortable, feeling, easy in getting a result, walking away with 3 points. We play at home sometimes and I don't know what's going to happen. Like, not even just at home, but just this entire season, every game this entire season, we go into it. I go into it and I'm like, I don't know. Don't ask me for a prediction because I don't know. I don't know how we're going to play. I don't know how we're going to win. I don't know how we're going to get a result, if we will. I just have to hope and pray that we do. That's it. And let's think about, guys, the entire season. Yeah, we're in now, what is it? End of February. It's end of February now. Do you guys have 3 games this season? How many games we've played? We've played over 30 starting games, yeah, in all competitions. Do we have 3 games that we could say United have played good for 90 minutes consistently? That's it. That's it. Is there any 3 games this season? The only game I can think as far back to is, what was that game? Crystal Palace, Carabao Cup, early stages. That was a good game. That was a very good game. Albeit we're playing against Palace's B team, I don't care. We still played good. And that was a good football. That was 90 minutes of good football. I'm trying to think of, I can't really think of any. I don't remember one domination, convincing performance after the Palace Cup game, but then they beat us in the Premier League. Exactly. We beat them on a Tuesday. We slapped them up. And then we got our asses handed to us the following Saturday. Players threw Haag under the bus and are attempting to maneuver Ratcliffe's hand. You know what, guys? I'll be real. I genuinely sympathize with Ten Hag. Like, you lot might think, what the hell is wrong with Mina? But I do feel bad for Ten Hag because some of these players are uncoachable. You know, there's a TV show in the UK called Undateables. Sky Sports should make a show called Uncoachables, where they get a bunch of people that cannot be coached and put them in a team together. Because a lot of these players are uncoachable. Honestly, like, they are uncoachable. And I feel bad for Ten Hag. I feel bad when your captain is some erratic man that just does stupid shit on the pitch all the time. Yeah, how can I not sympathize with Ten Hag? But I feel like Ten Hag doesn't help himself, and I think, and I said this before at the beginning of the stream, I genuinely feel like Ten Hag is just trying to see the season out. I feel like Ten Hag is trying to see the season out and hoping that he gets another season to do what he wants to do. And I'm hoping that he probably feels, because I said this, he probably feels that these lot are going to get rid of a lot of players in the summer, which means the uncoachables might be gone. They might be gone. But also, Ten Hag also doesn't help himself because the guy that you spent 100 million on is on the bench. You should never have brought him in the first place. That's the thing. That's the predicament I'm in when it comes to this season. It's like the players piss me off. The managers piss me off, but sometimes I understand why we're playing the way we do because I look at the players and I look at the manager and I'm like, you know what? The manager has to deal with a lot of nonsense when it comes to some of the players, but also the manager doesn't help himself. Like, that's it. The manager does not help himself sometimes, and I get it. I don't want Erik Ten Hag to. So then I found myself in a situation because I don't want Erik Ten Hag to come out after a game and cuss his players. I don't want him to be like Bruno shit, Rashford shit. So he has to do the opposite and come out and defend them and say, oh, look at the bigger picture. We could have won. So again, it's a very weird position to be in, guys. It's a very, very weird position, unusual position, I'd say, to be in. Big up to Nidu with the super chat. I appreciate it. It says, big up, Mina. Big up. I appreciate the contribution. Guys, if you want to join the membership club, you can. It's a pinned comment in the chat. I didn't even get to plug it. I just went straight into the stream today. There's a pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get emojis, custom member content, and of course, you get to support the growth of the channel and the content that I'm bringing you lot. You guys know what it is as well. That's why I'm not going in on Ten Hag. He's making mistakes a lot this season, but these players are fucking shit. Excuse my language, I just saw. These players are effing shit and have been for years. I'm bored of the same cycle every 3 years. I think Palmeiras kind of agrees with me. Show doesn't. Says you've been way too nice to Erik Ten Hag, Mina. Way too nice. Atom K says we don't need Onana, Mount, or Anthony. Onana for me is just like he's dead. Like I can't. I cannot have any other opinion on him, and the fact that he's just dead. That's it. Like Anthony, I don't know how he's a footballer. Onana, I think, could be a footballer, just not. I don't want him at United. That's it. He has his own mistakes as well. That's what I'm saying. Too, Mina. Rashford's head dropping, captain erratic, slow moving tanker called Maguire, Danish Iron Man, etc. Don't disrespect Lindelof, guys. We deserve better, says Mina. That's the bigger picture. You nailed it. So you're saying that Ten Hag is indirecting basically the players when he's talking about when he's talking about the bigger picture. He's saying the players are shit. I don't think Erik Ten Hag deserves your sympathies, Mina. His in-game decision making is shocking, and he made Bruno captain. True. Show says that you're sick, Mina. If you feel for Erik Ten Hag, if I'm sick, then shit, put some wires here for me. Put me on a hospital bed and just if I'm sick, because I feel bad for him, guys. But also he pisses me off at the same time. So it's like I'm in a love-hate relationship right now. I'm in a love-hate relationship right now with him. The uncoachables, guys. If we ever see that actual show on TV, tell them to run me my coins. Tell them if we ever see uncoachables on any sort of streaming platform, tell them run Mina her coins. Simple as that. But that's the issue with a lot of the players. I think they're uncoachable. But that's not going to let me look past what the manager does. Like, I'm sorry, you can't fight fire with fire and expect the fire to go out. Like, it's as simple as that. Big up to Ed, been a member for 1 month, says need these players and managers sacked. Big up Mina every time. PSF's the bin dippers and then Mickey Mouse Cup. Yeah, man, that cup is irrelevant. Oh, big up to Nidu 5 memberships, gifted 5 memberships. Let me see who those memberships landed to. It landed to Naz. Big up to Naz. PS, love United, hate the ops. Love that name. Nisso goes lives and Broderick 4 all got gifted memberships. Thanks to Nido. Big up to Nido as well. You guys know what it is, man. Mina doing up that toxic love. Listen, and just that's the position I'm in. You know, I've avoided Twitter yesterday and today because it's just when United lose, it's just Twitter is Let me know if you have that same problem, guys. If you have that same problem when United lose, it's just like it's like a war. It's war settings. Excuse me. It's literally like war settings on Twitter whenever Manchester United lose. It's if someone's defending Ten Hag, somebody doesn't agree and they're attacking that person. Someone is criticizing Rashford. Someone's saying, "Oh, but what about this player?" Someone is praising Bruno for being a good captain. Someone's saying, "Oh, you don't know football." Twitter is unbearable when Manchester United lose. Honestly, it is unbearable, especially in the manner that United have been losing this season, across the season. It's just unbearable. So I like to just go tweet my opinions and I keep it moving. That's it. I just tweet my opinion and I close the app. My favorite thing to do is mute notifications, so I don't even get notified. But when I was getting ready for the stream, I was just like, bro, United, from where we were 12 months ago to where we are now, it's literally like a whole 180. And maybe because United did well last season in a first season for the manager. So, because people say he's got credit, he should have credit in the bank off of the back of last season. But let's be real. After United won the Carabao Cup, and once United beat Barcelona, we were crap ever since that 7-0 against Liverpool, March. It's nearly a year. I think it was like the 3rd of March or something. Ever since that, United were just crap for the rest of the season. We were just poor for the rest of the season. And that poorness or that has trickled into this season. Off the back of a pre-season which was not good. Not that the pre-season was not any good in terms of fitness. We were seeing the problems of all of that. We were seeing the problems of the fitness in pre-season. We were seeing it opening day against Wolves, second game against Spurs. We were seeing that. The injury problems for me, I think, is what United are looking at. I feel like we're not paying enough attention to the injury problems that Manchester United are having. I don't think we're paying enough attention to that, because it would be so fine, guys, if it was just normal if it was like actual footballing, and I want to say footballing injuries, but what I mean by that is actual injuries sustained whilst playing football, not the impact of, high intensity training sessions. Because I don't think, is there anyone in our team that has not been injured this season? I'm trying to think. Maybe Onana and Bruno, probably the two that have not missed a game to injury, basically. Maybe Diogo Dalot as well. I can't remember. I think maybe Diogo Dalot as well. So maybe those three have not. Everyone else has missed an injury has missed a game to some sort of injury. And so we talk about all the problems that Erik Ten Hag is encountering, but we're not even talking about the issue. We talk about injuries, but why are these injury problems there? Why are these injury problems there when they are, most of them, as a result of high intensity sessions or training? Are the players overworked? Is the recovery time not enough? I was told when United have 1 game a week that we would be playing better. 1 game a week, we were told that we will play better because United players will be more fit, more able. That is definitely not the case. That is definitely not the case. I can't think of... And the fact that we brought people who are just injured. We brought people who have injury problems. Where is Sufyan Amrabat? Where is Amrabat? He came in injured. Amrabat came in injured. Højlund came in injured. Mason Mount did not come in injured, but he had a history of injury problems. United have struggled. This is so... Sheila says Bruno is injured in there. There's no better way to say nah. Koala, I'm not gonna read it. I read the first part and then I said nah, I'm not gonna mention it. But if we mention injuries throughout the season, we must be consistent and remember that every team has injuries. It's almost March. How about Ten Hag adapts to the environment instead of just talking? We have a top 6 first team, but a championship level bench. We shouldn't have. We don't. I don't think. Yeah. I don't think we have a championship level bench because if Ten Hag has his entire starting 11, our bench is not that bad. These are players that should be able to come on and impact the game. Did you see who Liverpool went with on their bench today in the Carabao Cup final? There was about 5 academy kids. There was about 5 academy kids. Half of their first team missing. Who was missing? Alisson, Salah, Jota, flipping Thiago. Obviously, that guy's always injured. Trent. They were missing their core starting 11. What did Klopp do? He plucked out a bunch of 16-year-old. There was a 16-year-old on the bench, 3 18-year-olds, a 19-year-old. All these men got school tomorrow, and they're there winning the Carabao Cup. It's not about the level of your bench, because with our number 11, with our starting 11, outside of our starting 11, Manchester United have a bench that are more than capable. We had a point in the season where we had Eriksen and Mount on the bench. We had Eriksen and Mount on the bench. On paper, those are supposed to be good players. Yeah, those are supposed to be good players. We spent 60 million on one of them. I don't think the issue is United having championship level players on the bench. We have a decent bench when we have our starting 11 that are starting, obviously, in the game. I just think the players are just crap. Like we're just crap. Like honestly, we're just dead. Like that's. I don't know what else to say. I don't believe these players are as bad as we think. The coach is equally as bad. That's the thing. I agree with this. I agree with Atom K. I think is both can be right at the same time. Both can be right at the same time. And even if you look at the players as an issue, you can still criticize the manager for his in-game management, pre-game management, his decision-making when it comes to starting 11. You can criticize the manager for that stuff. You can criticize, and that's where the manager's flaws come. That's where his flaws come from. The players have their flaws too, but it's the man. Like we can sit here and say, Bruno this, Bruno that, Bruno this, Bruno that. The manager has yet to drop him. Yesterday, Bruno was so bad. The manager, Erik Ten Hag, thought the answer was to put him at right wing, as if at right wing he's not even worse than playing in the 10. The manager thought, let me put him at right wing. The manager will never drop Bruno. He was forced to drop Marcus Rashford in the season. He had to do that to save face, but he will never drop Bruno, despite Bruno playing bad consistently and regularly. So yes, the players are bad, but equally, the manager has his flaws as well. Like, it's as simple as that. Big up to everyone. You guys know what it is, man. Be sure to hit the like button. Hour just gone by like this, man. Time just flew by when you have a rant. Time just absolutely flew by. I gotta go get ready. Gotta just have some food quickly because we are back with the full view on United View in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so. So be sure to come through there. I'm sure there's going to be some heated conversations. I got some stuff to say in it because a couple weeks ago, guys, if you don't remember, if you watched the full view a couple weeks ago, I was literally ganged up on and people were telling me to apologize and retract my statement about the manager. So today I'm going to see what energy everyone's coming with. I'm going to see what energy everyone is coming with. Simple as that. Big up to everyone, man. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. If you want to join the membership club, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get emojis, custom member content, of course. I'll be back tomorrow or maybe later this evening. Mina, you back down too easy, in my opinion. It's not that I back down too easily. You know what it is? Is that I'd never want to say I was right. I never want to say that, but I just keep quiet and wait. My plan was to keep quiet, wait for the end of the season and see the position that United are in. Then we can talk about my opinions and everyone else's opinions. But one thing I don't like is when United win one game, everyone's just so quick to be like, oh, you said this and you said that. Bro, let the season end. Let the season end. And then we can talk about it. And also, one thing I don't like is don't force people to retract statements because everyone's entitled to their own opinion. It would be shit if this world was full of everyone with the same opinions. It would be crap. The whole point of football debates and football discourse is for people to have differing opinions, and we have to be respectful of that. And I will always respect other people's opinions. Unfortunately, I don't think many people will respect your opinion if it differs to theirs. It's as simple as that. But today, I'm going to talk my shit. I'm going to talk my shit. And it has nothing to do with the manager. It has nothing to do with the player. It has everything to do with myself. You guys know what it is, man. Be sure to hit the like button. We will be live in about 20 minutes or so on the full view. So I hope to see a lot of you guys in the comments as well. I'll be back tomorrow with another stream. As always, it's your girl Mina, guys. Be sure to hit the like button. You know what it is, man. Peace.